Good morning. As I sit here thinking about the last few weeks in my life, I've been kind of focused on my knee surgery, and I hate to talk about medical stuff a lot, but when you've had some health issues, that is on your mind. I mean, I wake up every time I move in the night, I think about it. I remember one of our ladies. She said she's from New York, a younger gal, maybe my age, and this was a long time ago, 20 years ago. She said, "Pastor, this is horrible." I said, "What's horrible?" She said, "I just got to talk to one of my old friends from New York I haven't seen forever, and we talked for an hour, and all we talked about is medical things. It's crazy." She just said it was terrible, but that's where they were living at the time, and we do tend to talk about that, which is on our mind. And so anyway, I'm not going to talk much, but people do ask a lot, and so I'll just say my knee is obviously needs therapy, and a lot of work. I feel like it's doing well, but my right knee has been, let's see, March 2nd, so April, May, June, July, August, so it's 5 months. And as the physical therapist was working on my left knee that just got operated on a month ago, 3 weeks ago, he said, "Wow, your right knee's really healing up good." And so he doesn't think it's done yet. He said, "You got another 4 months of strengthening and building up." And so anyway, everything is doing well. I'm not well. I'm not going to be. I don't know if I'll ever be normal, but I'm not going to be normal like I want to be for just another 6 or 8 months. But if I can get out and knock on doors and visit people and go for a walk around the block with my wife and walk in the backyard with the grandkids chasing the tortoise around, I'll be happy. So that's good. But anyway, just an update. Things are well, and I'm very thankful for what God does for us. I want to mention this is Brother Mike Ray's book. If they can make it, you can too. And there's a story in here about Uncle Bud Robinson, and if you never heard anything about Bud Robinson, he was way down in the area where nobody went to school. Had just rough. The people who gave the term hillbilly all of its stereotypes, but he became such a great preacher. And I'll just read a little bit about him. Bud began his life in poverty. His dad was in the whiskey business. He was hungry and cold and often slept on a sheepskin with their dog. He never knew there was a church or a schoolhouse. People made fun of him his whole life, but never tried to help him. His baby crib was a hollowed-out log. Raised in the mountains, Bud felt like civilization never reached them. Liquor flowed like water. Everybody drank on every occasion. People went door to door to sell their moonshine. Most people could not read or write. Morals were low. Bud had a beard by the time he attended his first Sunday school class. His early recollections of his mother were of her praising God and clapping her hands. This put Bud under conviction. His dad was a curser and a brawler, and often screamed at the family and got into confrontations with his wife, often trying to kill her. His mother was very prejudiced during the Revolutionary War, but once she got saved at the revival meeting, she loved everybody. His father died and left his mom to raise the 10 children alone. She worked all day to provide. The family drank and got drunk daily. He was the only one not to drink. It was hell on earth. Bud spent the night with a friend who had, quote, religion, end quote, in their home. It was the first time he'd ever seen a tablecloth, a napkin, or heard anybody pray over a meal. Dad read the Bible, and the family even played some games. Bud never seen anything like it. He desired that if he ever had a family, it's what he wanted. Bud was so poor that his family had no kerosene or candles. He read his Bible by moonlight outside after he got saved. God put it in his heart to rescue his siblings. Bud was invited to a revival service. He had a deck of cards and a pistol in his back pocket. As he walked up the aisle for salvation, he said the devil met him in the aisle and tried to stop him. He kept going. He commented that I stepped from nothing to everything. He was asked that night which church he wanted to join. He said, "How many have you got?" His first year, he had 380 conversions under his preaching. So he'd just gotten saved, and that year led 380 people to Christ through his preaching. He stuttered so badly that he couldn't ask for directions. People would have to guess what he wanted, and he would nod his head. Once he got to preaching, his stuttering was well controlled. So it's just normal talking, he said. And I've known people like that on occasion, that they are so good. We have a young man that went to our high school this way. I taught him in the public speaking class. And once he got in the pulpit to speak, he could speak so smoothly. Then he'd walk out and he struggled. And it's just who we are. We have our issues. He dealt with epileptic seizures, 15 years of paralysis, 10 years with bleeding in his lungs, and yet he had over 25,000 people trust Christ under his preaching. He said, if the Lord is your shepherd, then you are the Lord's sheep, and he has a perfect right to shear you anytime he needs wool, and you have no right to bleat. And on and on. What a great story. His autobiography is called Sunshine and Smiles, and would be certainly worth getting to know a little bit about these great Christians in the past, some from very, very difficult circumstances. Speaking of that, I want to turn to what I think is probably a passage. If you read your Bible much, I'd guess you turn to this and it would be marked up. Psalm 37. And it is a chapter filled with so many familiar verses that they're preached on, they're pulled out, they're quoted, they're used in trying to comfort ourselves in our times of sorrow. And it's filled with so much. But I want to just take a few verses out of the middle of Psalm 37 today. And by the way, we've got the next weeks. We have had several guest preachers because of my knee, and I just feel like I didn't know if I could do a good job in the pulpit. And I remember my pastor in Reading having guest speakers, and it kind of bothered me. I thought, we don't go to your church to hear other people. We go to hear you. And I never said that, but I thought it. But now I realize how you could feel when your health's not good, your energy level's low, or you're hurting, or you can't walk real well. And I don't want our pulpit lacking. And I don't just put anybody in the pulpit. I don't put anybody that I don't believe God's got their hand on them, or I don't want them in our pulpit. And so, yesterday having Dennis Coral with us. Brother Coral's been our friend for over 40 years and a great preacher and evangelist. And not many evangelists stay in the ministry by the decade. It's a trying thing, but he's a great guy and been steady through the years. But as of now, I assumed I had to plan ahead to get preachers, so I assume I'll be in the pulpit until October when we have our fundamentalist conference, and then you'll be blessed. You'll get to hear Pastor Mike Johnson from Reading. You'll get to hear John Shook from Asheboro, North Carolina, and you'll love Brother Shook. His wife spoke at our ladies' conference a couple times, but he's not been out here yet. And then Brother Steve Myers from Pacific Baptist. He helped start the church 40-some years ago. And Joseph Esposito, the founding pastor there, Joe Esposito's oldest son, Joseph, he and my son Josh are about the same age. And so Brother Josh and Brother Joseph are going to also be speaking in one of the day sessions. And so those two are young men who grew up in fundamentalism. The others of us, I'll speak a little, but the others of us, we chose fundamentalism and old-fashioned religion, old-time religion, preaching, standards, convictions, soul winning, King James Bible, holy living, preaching against sin. And that's what Bible Christianity is. And this soft religion that doesn't want to offend anybody, that's not Bible. These preachers in the Bible, they were so offensive. Oh, they've made people mad. And so, but I know some of you, I'm assuming some of you would wonder who else is a guest. Well, I don't have any other guests now. I might drop dead today. But as of now, we don't have any more guest preachers. I just wanted to be sure the pulpit was well covered and that my surgery didn't cause any lack. I think our church members deserve good preaching. They deserve to come to church and hear from God. And I just wanted to be sure they did. But anyway, I hate missing, but I think it was the best thing to do. But anyway, so back to this. I'll be preaching this Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, and Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, and it'll be whatever. I was going to say it'll be good. I always enjoy my preaching. I don't know if anybody else does, but anyway, Psalm 37. I want you to look with me here. There's a couple of verses in the middle. I'd like you to notice. In verse 18, the Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. Now, you can scribble a note of 1 Peter 1:4 in that, 1 Peter 1:4, but God knows that he knows the days of the upright. Our days are numbered. My days are numbered. Your days are numbered. And some people, I was just reading about Luther Rice, a missionary. He went initially to India with Adoniram Judson, and he didn't stay. He came back. Luther Rice and Adoniram Judson, they were Anglican Church of England people, and on the way to India to the mission field, they became Baptists. And so Luther Rice came back because they had to get more new support because they couldn't be preaching Baptist doctrine and under Anglican money. That wouldn't have been right. And I think, thank God for people who have enough character to do that. But so Luther Rice, but he died young. God knows our days. Our days are numbered. And so he says there that in verse 18, the Lord knoweth the days of the upright. But, God doesn't spend a lot of time. He didn't even talk about death. It says they know their days and their inheritance, it's forever. Your life may not be forever, your life on earth, but your inheritance, that's forever. Your life may be shortened by disease, but your inheritance, that's forever. The life of your child may be short, or the life of your spouse. You may lose a spouse early. I think of a dear friend of ours, all the years we've had this church, Shirley Carruthers. I met her before our first service, and I think she was 27 when her husband died. And there she is, 27 years old, several little children, and we met her. She was probably 60 or so. And Shirley spent all those years single, raised her kids alone. And God took her husband early, and why he did it, he's God. He has a right to do what he wants, like Bud Robinson. He's the shepherd, and we're the sheep. He can shear us how he wants, but it would be heartbreak. But I never sensed a bit of bitterness in Shirley's life. But, I married her late in life, I'm going to say in her mid-60s. She met Jim Carruthers here at our church, and I married them. It was a double wedding, Carruthers and Fossey wedding together. But the Lord has our days numbered. And this earth, we love this world because it's all we know. But God's up in heaven saying, don't get too hung up on what's down there. You can't even imagine how good it's going to be when you get here. And he's said some things, and he's talked a little bit about heaven. He's talked about the kingdom on earth, and he's talked about the kingdom, the heavenly kingdom. And he's told us some things, but it's a little vague in some areas. But God would like us to keep our mind. Colossians says, if you then be risen with Christ, set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. And so God looks down and says, I know your days are numbered, and you may have a slow, lingering death, and no one likes that. We all hate to see someone we love hurt. But God's up in heaven saying, you're going to look back and not even think a thing about this. You're going to be walking down golden streets, and there's the tree of life with 12 different kinds of fruit on it, and there's the giant 120-foot walls of gold and 120-foot tall pearls, one pearl for each of the 12 gates around the city. And he says, you're not going to worry that you were sick or your child or your spouse had some physical problems, because your inheritance is forever. And 100 years from now, you'll be enjoying your inheritance. 1,000 years from now, you'll be enjoying your inheritance. 100,000 years from now, you'll be enjoying your inheritance. And so God just wants to encourage you. He knows your days, and he knows the days of the upright, but your inheritance, that's the thing he wants you to focus on. Verse 19 says, they shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine, they shall be satisfied. He said there's going to be some trouble. There'll be evil times. There'll be some heartbreak. There'll be some injustice. There'll be health problems. There'll be money problems. There may be criminal problems. But you just wait. He says that there in verse 19, you don't have to be ashamed when those evil days come. Don't be ashamed. You don't have to be ashamed because you're in the hand of God. And I've had a few difficulties along the way, but I was safe in his hand the whole time. John 10 says I'm in Jesus' hand and I'm in the Father's hand and I'm secure and safe in his hands. Now, that doesn't mean there's not some evil times. He calls it that here in Psalm 37. There's some evil time. But I don't need to be ashamed because I'm with Jesus and he's going to take care of me. He's going to walk me through this thing and everything is going to be all right. And he says, in the days of famine, they shall be satisfied. So there's going to be some evil times, And there may even be some days when there's financial want, where there's hunger. And here in America, we don't know hunger. We just don't. Most of us couldn't remember the last time our stomach growled for food because we're always stuffing something into it. I know I am. I love food and I enjoy eating. But you understand today there are hungry Christians. There are godly people, God-fearing people in countries around the world where they don't know how they're going to feed their children. And they do without. And so that, we act like the Bible is just to 2025 Christians in America. No, we're this little speck in a globe full of billions of people and millions of Christians throughout the thousands of years of Christianity. But he says in the time of famine, even when things look down, God's going to take care of you. He's going to look after you. And I'm skipping down a little bit, for the sake of time. Verse 24, though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. And you may be at the point of life where there's some difficulties and you stumble physically, stumble financially. Though he fall, he'll just get up. The just man falls 7 times and rises up again. And he says, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down. And there may be a tragedy, and there may be a heartbreak, and there may be some wrongdoing that we have to go through because of evil people. But he said, though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down. I'm not going to stay down. The Lord's going to uphold me, and the Lord's going to help me get up and get going. He's going to look after me. He upholded me with his hand. And then the verse I was headed toward, verse 25, I have been young, and now I'm old. And you stop right there. I have been young, and now I'm old. Yet have I not seen the righteous. I've not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Now, I love that verse because seed means your kids. My job to walk with God and love God and seek God. And he said, God's not going to forsake me. He is not. I've been young, now I'm old, and I'll tell you one thing, God will take care of his children. Now, we worry and we fret and we get anxiety and no, what are we going to do? And but you know what? He's going to take care of us. But not only that, you say, well, I'm worried about my kids. Stop it. You worry about righteousness. God will worry about your children. He said, I've been young, now I'm old. I've not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful and lendeth. His seed is blessed. God will take care of you. I love that old song. I can hear Lester Roloff singing it. Be not dismayed, whate'er betide. God will take care of you. We have a wonderful God. And as we get older, we do worry a little bit more, and we can't lean on our flesh as much as we used to. Used to be I could work a little harder, stay up a little later, run a little faster. And now I can't even jump off a curb. And so we can't rely on ourselves. And we get thinking, oh no, what am I going to do? Same thing you've always done. Only before you were trusting the flesh. Now you're going to just need to trust in the eternal arm of the Almighty God. Now he's going to take care of you. He's faithful. He will look after you. He'll look after you in the hospital. He'll look after you at home. He'll look after you alone. He'll look after you in a crowd. He'll look after you at church. He'll look after you on the job. He will take care of you, and you can trust him. You might spend some time going through Psalm 37 if you're not familiar with it. I've memorized much of it. It's just a chapter filled with verses of encouragement. They're just all through it. I color verses that are verses of promise and encouragement, yellow, and you probably can't see it, but you can see all the yellow on that page. And there's just all kinds of verses on yellow. Mark the perfect man, behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. And the Lord will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. God looks after his own, and he'll look after you.